We got
Good
a couple more.
Good morning.
morning.
I'm one of the fortunate who has gotten COVID back to back.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Terrible.
I have no clue how the second time happened.
I'm sorry, Ashna.
But anyway, I want y'all to, the only reason why I said that is I want y'all to appreciate what difficulty I am here today and to feel sorry for me. Feel free.
Okay.
Okay. We're
Okay.
there.
Put everybody
there
put
for
her
you.
on your pity list.
Good.
And it's my fault. I gave her COVID.
I
Well,
couldn't
thank,
have gotten it from a nicer person.
Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Cat. Good morning.
hey, how are you? Okay, so today is a good day for you to come in, Matthew.
I'm going to mute everybody. Is this an
Okay.
appropriate time?
Now's a good time.
All right.
We are starting a series of lectures. I hope you're queued up.
Yes, I am.
My baby got my back. So we are beginning a series with Matthew, with Jack Kornfield and Tara Brock. We've done this before
We thought we'd go back to the beginning.
to reinforce it, but do a little bit different deal on the teaching. This time, picking certain things to focus on that are the support for your meditation. And so we are going to, and then we'll do the meditation. So going back to what we'll do, we'll run the tape. Often what Jack does doesn't last the full 20 minutes. So there will be a silence after he does his gong.
He does
or
about
Tara
10
does her
minutes.
gong.
We'll
Then-
remain in silence for the remainder of the 20, another 10.
Right. So if you're confused, just follow along.
And we're going to go sit on our cushions this morning
And-
because my hip is really excited about starting that again. So here we go. Woohoo.
So the Buddha wasn't always called the Buddha. He started out as a prince in India, left his family, his fortune, his fame, his power, because he was confronted with the reality of old age, illness, and death, which speaks to a lot of us. Comes a point in our life where we deal with that. And religions answer different questions. The Christian church asks a question, what happens to me after I die? How do I attain immortality? How do I continue to exist after death? And so through this Easter season, through Jesus's death and resurrection, we understand that in death, it has no power to hold our spirit will live after us. Well, not all religions are concerned with that question. In this country, quite a sizable minority are more concerned about the fact that I'm suffering right now. I'm under such incredible stress that I want relief from my suffering. And this is the question that Buddhism answers. It's really a psychology. There's no God in Buddhism. Buddhism is about, why do I suffer? It's the first noble truth. Life is painful. It's out of joint. It feels like something's wrong. Why is it out of joint? because I want what I want when I want it, and all I want is everything I want all the time. Is that too much to ask? And third noble truth is yes, it is. Okay. That if you want to get out of it, you have to learn to deal with your self will. You have to learn how to accept life on life's terms. So when we're meditating, we're really entering into that framework. You need to see it as how do I begin to deal with the pain that's optional, which is what we call suffering. So there's the pain you can't end, like when you have a hip that's bad, you can't meditate your way out of that pain. Okay. So we need to find a way that enables us to live with pain as comfortably as we can and end the mental anguish that's created by wanting that pain to be different than it is. Okay. So Jack, in his book, Meditation for Beginners, which we'll hear more of, he says, okay, gotta find my place. Okay. The place where we're going to begin, where all genuine spiritual practice begins, is by first coming into the body. In this practice, we'll begin by relating to our breath and our own physical body in a mindful and conscious way. The stilling of your physical body will help a great deal in quieting your mind. Your first step then is to find a stable and comfortable posture so that you can become aware of your body in the present moment. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. What does matter is that you have a sense of stability, comfort, and ease. We call one of the poses, sitting cross-legged, Sukhasana. The word for suffering is dukkha, and in a beautiful kind of elegance, the word for ease is Sukhasana. So this should be a pose of ease. Okay. I've lost my place. Okay. There's a story told about the Buddha shortly after he was enlightened. He was walking down the dusty road and he met a traveler who saw him as a handsome yogi exuding a remarkable amount of energy. The traveler asked him, "You seem very special. What are you? Are you some kind of angel? You seem unhuman." And the Buddha said, "No." "Well, are you some kind of god then?" "No," he said. "Well, are you some kind of wizard or magician?" "No," he replied. "Well, are you a man?" "No." "Then what are you?" And this is a question we all ask. How many of you have had that tension between, am I different from other people and better than? I sense this grandness in me, but I also sense that I'm totally fucked up and screwed up. There's a polarity between these two. So he's denying, no, I'm not exceptional in any kind of way. Then what are you? I am awake. And this is what we're striving for. This is the whole of Buddha's teaching. The word Buddha means one who is awake. To be a Buddha is to be one who is awakened to the nature of life and death, who is awakened and freed one's compassion, okay? Freed one's compassion in the midst of this world. So what are we reclaiming? There's a lot in The Monkey is the Messenger that talks about what happens in childhood when we lose empathy for ourselves, when we start treating ourselves as an object, trying to get other people to love us. to accept us, to affirm us. And when we do that, we totally destroy our natural spirituality. So, recovering our compassion in Buddhism, you'll always notice it starts with yourself. You can't really have compassion for the world until you first are sympathetic and empathetic to your own suffering. The practice doesn't ask us to become Buddhist or a meditator or a spiritual person. It invites us to fulfill the capacity we each have as a human to awaken. So when you take the diamond throne, you're claiming your birthright. You were born awakened. You fell into the illusion that you're a separate self. Now we're trying to reawaken into that beginner mind that we had as children. The skill of becoming more mindful and more present, more compassionate, more awake is something we may learn sitting on a meditation cushion. But this capacity for awareness helps us in computer programming, playing tennis, lovemaking, or walking by the ocean, by listening to the life around you. In fact, to awaken, to be really present, is the central art in all of these. Mindfulness helps train us to be more present and alive for whatever we meet, and to develop what Alan Watts describes as the art of living. He said the art of living is neither careless drifting on the one hand or fearful clinging to the past on the other. It consists of being completely sensitive to each moment and regarding it as utterly unique and new, and having the mind open and wholly receptive. So as we begin this practice, let's remember why. Why are we here? We're here to fix ourselves? No. Are we here to fix the world? No. We're here to wake up. Wake up. Wake what? Awaken. Good thing to do. So,
Okay. So this is lesson 1, pausing for presence.
Welcome to Mindfulness Daily. In this first section, which we call Mindful Basics, we will introduce the key skills you will need as a foundation for mindfulness training. We begin by exploring the first step in mindfulness, pausing to become present. We live in a stressful time. For many of us, in the midst of all the demands of our lives and the fast pace of our culture, we can easily lose connection to ourselves and to what matters most. We can be like a character in James Joyce's story who lived a short distance from his body. We're not here in the present where our lives are actually taking place. Whether you are a parent, a healer, a manager, or a student, you've been drawn to mindfulness training to make your life better. Maybe you want to enhance your mental clarity and performance. Maybe you're looking for a way to feel more relaxed and balanced. Or you might feel trapped in habits that aren't serving your relationships at work or at home. The way to change begins with arriving in the present moment with awareness. Mindfulness practice addresses a longing we all share, a desire to be centered, to feel at home with ourselves and others, to be comfortable in our own skin. A certain hospice worker talked about accompanying hundreds of people in their dying process, and one of the greatest regrets she heard expressed over and over by those on their deathbed was that they had not lived true to themselves. We can spend a whole lifetime trying to meet the expectations and standards of ourselves and others, and end up never having lived our own lives. The Persian poet Rumi asked a question that remains relevant today. Do you make regular visits to yourself? Using smartphones, a couple of Harvard researchers tracked the thoughts and activities of several thousand volunteers. What they found is that almost half the time our thoughts are not related to the activity we are engaged in. In other words, our minds are wandering. We're not present. But the amazing thing that they were able to see is that we're happiest when we are present and focused on exactly what we're doing, whether that's having a conversation, walking down the street, or doing the dishes. As Scientific American has suggested, a regular and dedicated meditation practice is a way to train the mind to wander less. Mindfulness is paying attention to what is happening inside and outside you in the present moment. This begins with something that is incredibly simple, a pause. Imagine being in a movie theater, immersed in a fast-paced thriller. Suddenly the screen freezes. No longer swept away in the action, you become aware of where you are, the people around you, aware of the pulsing tension in your body, of what you're thinking and feeling. You are in the midst of a pause. Learning to pause in the midst of your life brings you back to what's actually happening. You're not caught up in the movie, and in that space you can see more clearly what you are thinking and feeling and what is going on around you. So imagine for a moment, you get stuck in traffic, your laptop crashes and you lose valuable work, your boss or your partner criticizes you, your child has a temper tantrum. With mindfulness, it's possible to pause, breathe, and find a space of more clarity and empathy. You can then remember what's really important and respond in a wise, kind, and balanced way. The pause frees you from repeating old patterns that no longer serve your well-being. These are the words of poet Martha Postlewaite. Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands. With even a short pause, you can begin to sense more aliveness, clarity, and heart. So let's begin our practice. Find a posture that allows you to be comfortably at rest, sitting upright to help you stay alert, but also relaxed. You may sit in a chair or on the floor. If you're in a chair, it's ideal to sit a little forward rather than leaning against the back. Allow your hands to rest easily on your knees or your lap. Let your eyes close gently, or if you prefer, leave them open with a soft, receptive gaze. While in this and future practices, we will refer to sitting, if for some reason you are unable to sit, it is fine to stand, arms relaxed by your side, or to lie down, arms and legs uncrossed, though you will want to make sure you stay awake. As you come into stillness, sense that you're pausing, arriving in presence. With a gentle attention, notice the state of your body right now. Take a full, deep breath and release it slowly. Slowly enough that you can feel the sensations of the exhale as your breath moves through your chest, your throat, your nostrils. Now allow your breath to resume its natural rhythm and sense that you can relax, feeling gravity and how the earth is supporting you. Notice in this simple presence, without judgment, the state of your body just now. Warm, cool, ease, or tension. Notice too the state of your mind and heart just as it is. racing or quiet, joyful or sad. Let mindfulness hold it all. Simply be aware that you are here, feeling the grounded sensations of being seated, present in this moment. Notice that you can become present in the midst of whatever is going on for you, whether it is pleasant or whether there's pain or tension or worry. Mindfulness notices and relaxes around it all with a spacious and kind presence. Notice whatever is present just now and take a minute to relax with it all. Feel the benefit of simply being present and know that you can return to this again and again. A sounding of the bell will close this mindfulness practice. Let your intention be to carry this simple presence with you as you enter your next activity.
All righty then. Um, phone 122, would you care to identify yourself? Just so we can know who's there. In order to talk, um, Matthew, you're going to need to unmute yourself at this point. So the general rules that we use are stay in the present moment, stay with what we're discussing, don't try to fix other people. We don't like a lot of crosstalk. And anything else? Don't talk over people. We get into that sometime. We get excited and start jumping in. So keep it simple. This really is a practice in the art of what do they call it? That kind of listening, active listening,
Conscious.
conscious. Yeah, being aware of listening rather than thinking about what you're going to say next. Actually, stay with the person in front of you. So before we begin, come back. This is where the tire meets the road. If you can't pause, you will never get anywhere in any religion or in your life. Kabir writes a poem. He says, "Who is it who does these things? I aim right, my arrow goes left. I try to get to Shreveport, my car ends up in the ditch." Well, the answer to the problems that you're having is because you're unconscious. You're just doing what your mind has always done. You're not there. Your mind is running on automatic. That's why we have the feeling that our lives are in a rut, because they are. And it's not until you can pop out, get back in the present moment, that you can begin to redirect. So it's like that. If I had a lever and a fulcrum place to stand, I could move the world. Yes, this is it. So there's no more fundamental thing or skill to learn than this art of coming back to this moment. So, questions, comments? Great. They're all enlightened. Oh, wow.
A neuroscientist would say that 95% of what we think, say, feel, and do by the time we're in our 30s is a habit.
Yeah.
So the pause is the change. It is the waking up.
Absolutely. And it's more insidious than that. Notice that 2/3 of the thoughts that you think you've had before, they're not new. You're parading the same the same thoughts over and over and again, acting as if you're doing something different.
One of my inspirations lately has been that pausing, and the thoughts, everything I think, feel, say, and do today is what's going to repeat tomorrow, just per your point. Like it's just a repeating. So what I'm doing today is basically laying the foundation for tomorrow. And if I keep ingraining the same old thoughts, like if I'm going through a storm, a crisis, or whatever that's made up, I'm like, well, this is just gonna 90-something% of these thoughts are gonna repeat tomorrow because that's the biological thing that happens. So my inspiration is like doing awakening today so that my tomorrow is easier.
And the beauty of what you're saying, this is the iron law of karma. Karma isn't that there's a God sitting outside who's going to punish you for the bad deeds that you're doing. That's a Christian notion, not a particularly helpful one. But the idea is that everything you think, every action you perform is indelibly imprinted in your body. It's inescapable. You may think you've gotten away with something, but if you lie, even if you get away with the lie, you're still practicing lying, okay? If you're avoiding, you're practicing avoiding. Whatever you're doing, you're hardwiring in your nervous system. That's inescapable. The converse is that if you pause and don't complete that impulse or that thought, it starts to decay. So firing together wires it together. When you don't do the automatic thing, pause and sit and do nothing, that begins to unwire. And that's the way we heal. We heal by doing nothing. Okay. The minute you set up trying to fix what just happened, you actually reinforce it. Okay. What you resist persists. So that's the bind that we're in all the time. Something arises, it's unpleasant, I don't want it. I give it a pushback, makes it stronger. But I thought I was trying to change. Well, you're trying to change in a very unskillful way. And that goes on the outside too, me trying to change other people. The more I push, the less they're going to change. What do? Do nothing. Question. I should say, do nothing, then act. I forgot the part.
I just wanted to say, I think there's an awful lot of wisdom in what Matthew just shared with us. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Yeah, I found that both comforting and terrifying at the same time.
That's sacred ground.
Yeah.
That's sacred ground. And that's the art of awareness that Matthew described, is that, oh, here I am going down this rabbit hole and I'm just making it worse now and for tomorrow. Awareness.
And this is where the metaphysical schools exaggerate the effect to which you're creating your future. This is the way you're creating your future. You're not going to manifest $1 million by sitting and putting up an idea board, but you are very definitely going to manifest whatever you're doing, thinking today and doing today. That will manifest.
For me, the pause is the hardest part, because some part of my mind truly likes and rewards the behavior that is the antithesis of what I should probably be doing for myself. And so the remembering to override that and remembering to pause is very difficult for me. To override the habit and the learned process, how I've learned what the reward center says is really a reward and what is truly a reward, and putting that in there is very hard.
Okay. So what Cherry's referring to, for those of you new to neuroscience, is that you have networks in your brain that reward certain behavior, and it's not necessarily healthy what's being rewarded. So you can get dopamine rewards, which make you want to do something again, like eat food that's not good for you because it hits your reward centers, or do an activity like gambling or risk taking. But just because you're rewarded doesn't mean it's healthy. So there's a difference with the serotonin reward as opposed to the dopamine reward, an even greater reward from what's called anandamide, or the bliss hormones, which is what you get into when you're meditating. And when I say to people, okay, when you're ready, you can come back, and they go, I don't want to come back. You know that feeling? That's the big reward feeling. So the poets will tell you, you know, the more you eat from that food that nourishes your soul, the less you'll need from the smoky oven, the good tasting food, the things that you get addicted to. So, yes, your brain is telling you this is significant, it's important, this is what I need, this is what I want, but it's not fulfilling.
You're telling me donuts are not fulfilling.
I'm not going to tell people what's in our fridge out in the garage. Yes, I'm telling you, they're not fulfilling.
Oh, yes,
Some
they are.
place called OA, it tells me every week, no,
Wait a minute. All the jelly beans I bought yesterday, they are not fulfilling.
look, Cherry
Girl Scout
works for the
cookies.
Girl Scouts and sells cookies. One of the biggest drug distributors, and they're out on the street corner dealing. Totally unknown by society.
Maybe field donuts are more fulfilling.
In field donuts, yeah. They're more
Yeah.
fulfilling.
I did hear nuts and beans. Those are healthy, right?
Yeah.
There's peanut butter in Girl Scout cookies.
Okay, rabbit hole. I'm calling rabbit hole.
We are digressing.
Sorry.
I'm
This is what
sorry.
happens when you leave us unattended for a week.
It shows how pervasive it is, doesn't it?
Let's take a pause. What he said.
Yeah. Oh.
That's happened one time at my home in the early days of this group. We started talking about chocolate addiction, and 3 people in OA went out and relapsed just from us talking about it.
No.
It got too intense. That's the power of thought.
Mm.
Well, I find it interesting. My wife helped me through this. I've been under the weather for a couple weeks, and so I keep telling her, well, you know, I'm having this ache and I'm having this pain and I'm having this headache. And she said, stop making a list.
Yeah.
She says it doesn't help at all. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Most of the symptoms went away as soon as I stopped worrying about them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And the more we retell that story and make that list, you know, the deeper we ingrain it into our neuro pathways, and, you know, sheesh. Pause, let go.
And it's so easy to do. You know, I'm usually not sick, so when I'm sick, I really indulge myself in all the wrong things.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
Self-pity.
Yeah.
Number on the hit parade. And why isn't anybody taking this as seriously as I am?
Drew, I'm feeling this 'cause I'm having a bad breathing day. I, once again, did not pause yesterday and did things that are not helping this. So my brain will go, if I don't pause, you're not going to be able to breathe later today. This is all going to go bad. Nothing good is going to happen about all this. And I have to purposely pause and go, no, not happening right now. It's not always easy.
No.
So Bart, and I'm asking, can y'all hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, yay. You know, so take me through in terms of the pause. And then for me, then that means also let it be. Now, are those 2 different concepts? Are they a part of just the pausing, moving to the acceptance, letting it be.
Yes, that. All right. So I can't let things be until I realize what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay. And I can't get my hands off of it. So you'll hear me give the cues: let go of all doing and all compulsive meaning making.
Okay.
So watch how when you pause, you realize, what are you doing? I'm
Okay.
thinking, I'm planning, I'm remembering,
Worrying.
I'm doing something to try to structure my life.
Okay.
That's the default network of the brain that's trying to create a narrative and weave all your experience into this coherent whole. That's the monkey mind doing what the monkey mind is designed to do. Then making a conscious choice to take my hands off of it, to stop controlling. We don't think of meaning making as control.
Hmm.
Only
No, we don't. No.
reason to understand life, and that's to be able to control what happens next. You are not in control of what happens next. I'm only in control of what I do next. That's why I pause to redirect and say, what is this? I love this centering thought. Given this is the fact that this is happening, how do I want to be in relationship to it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So pause, accept this is what's happening, then act.
Okay.
Matthew says, who do I want to be tomorrow? Because I'm laying the foundation. So this is where you build your character.
Okay.
I think sometimes it takes a while to get. I think both things are can be difficult. Pausing and then that conscious choice, because I know for me, early on, I would pause, but I would like, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing and I'm doing it anyway. I would,
Yes,
I would go there.
exactly.
So it's really it's really only been like really recently, like maybe 3 weeks where I've been able to pause and choose something different. And it feels wonky, it feels foreign.
Yes, beautiful. So
And
two very powerful things in what you said. First is, when you do genuinely new behavior, it feels weird. It's that same feeling of I'm excited and scared at the same time. Your brain, anything that doesn't fit with the patterns it's used to doing, feels weird. We have to get used to feeling weird and celebrate weirdness, because weirdness means you've broken through. You're in areas where you don't have pathways established. So congratulations. I'm serious.
No,
In
I
all,
know. I know.
that's a sign of progress. Okay. The second thing that you said is where most of us give up. We go from being unconsciously dysfunctional, then we're conscious of the dysfunction. Feel like everything I do is codependent or addictive.
Yes.
And then we get to the point where we try to be consciously healthy and we can't do it. I sit with that donut in the refrigerator in the middle of the night and go, I should not eat this. And then I eat it, and then I kick my ass for it.
Yeah.
I kick my ass all day next day for eating that donut. Sherry Huber calls that self-hate. She says, eat the donut consciously and don't hate yourself for it. Right? That's the trick. Let go of the hate and to see how this will is powerless over this thing. Okay? And here I am. All the awareness is there, the will's behind it, and my brain still betrays me. Why do I listen to it?
May I say something quickly
Of course.
that the the neuroscience researchers, just put out a thing about 3 days ago where they're able to exactly read the part of your brain that has to do with willpower. The whole subject was, do we have willpower? And they're able to now see that our watch the synapses connect and enhance the willpower when we practice it. So in other words, our brain is in a weird spot when we see the donut and we don't eat it. Maybe just the first, after the first time or something, it gets stronger. That part of your brain in control of, I don't know what all, impulsivity or something, that we are rewarded instantly. Our brain just kicks in, that part of our brain that had not been looked at closely enough before.
Yes,
You
and
know,
the biggest debate is, does free will exist? Can we even break free of our brains? And the answer that spiritual traditions have always given is yes, we can, but it's not as easy as everybody makes you think. Buy my book, take this pill, listen to my lecture, my podcast, you'll be able to do it. You didn't know that right here is where the work's done.
On
Yeah.
the cushion.
You're talking, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Woody.
Well, you're talking about the willpower thing. There has been research for a long time. If you tell a kid, don't spill the milk while you're taking it to the table, they're so much more apt to spill it because that's what they have in their brain. They're trying to have keep what they have in their brain and what they're scripted, what they see themselves doing. They're trying to stop themselves to do it, but that's still what they have in their brain. And that's where sports psychology comes in too. It's much more advantageous if you're videotaping a team or something to cut out the places where they screwed up and just show them the places where they excelled, and they're much more likely to keep excelling. And then when you were talking about pause, it reminded me of Naranan. In Naranan, pause means postpone action until serenity emerges, evolves. And then when you were talking about letting go, I heard this in Naranan too, and it's taken from 12 steps AA. So, Bart probably already knows it is let go or be dragged. And somehow that's so much easier for me to remember than let go and let God.
Yeah.
Okay, you can either let go of this or you can be dragged.
Yep.
It's your choice. Yeah.
It's
So-
not your control. That's the big joke. My favorite images of Linnell, the little girl sitting in those little seats that had the steering wheel on it and thinking she was driving the car. That's where we all are. You're not driving anything. Okay, so let's come back to willpower. Someone remind me next week to come back because this is so essential. What you just shared, Sherry, about the reinforcement that happens. It goes back to what Matthew was saying. And it goes back to choice. Okay, when you wake up in the morning, first thing after you peed, do a gratitude list. When you do a gratitude list, you flood your brain with dopamine. Okay, good dopamine. Give yourself credit for 5 things you did the day before that you respect yourself for. Woody, exactly what you were saying. Replay the day from all the great plays, not from all the ways you fucked up. Okay? 3, remember 5 times that life felt sacred. And there's some good things that are being done with your phone now where it says, At this day, 5 years ago, the beach. Well, look at those damn pictures and let them hit you. And remember, we forgot we were at the beach. I know what I've got to do today that I dread. My brain drags that out, but it forgets the beach. And do that. This front loads your whole brain for the day with positive neurochemicals, which will give you resilience to whatever you have to deal with. If you wake up with cortisol and adrenaline and dread, you're going to have a shitty day. So if you're going to take control as early as possible. Get your morning walk, get your meditation, time in nature, get your cold shower, all those kind of things. And
Sunrise.
yeah, it gives yourself a chance.
Set the
Nice.
tone positively for your day.
Absolutely.
Jessica's affirmations.
Yeah, so these are smart hacks for being successful in your spiritual life that I'm so glad science is finding this stuff out and reaffirming everything the wisdom traditions have said. So we live in fascinating time. Science and spirituality come together, not supernatural. It's your brain, damn it. Okay, so we close by oming. We'll do 3 rounds of Om, Matthew, and we will do 1 round of and I think you'll catch on.
Sorry.
Ready? Take a deep breath in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone here. Thank you, Bart.
Love
Thank you.
Brad.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
Love you guys very much.
Really
Good
wonderful.
day,
Nice meeting
everybody.
everyone.
Tiffany.
Carolina.
How you doing? I'm back.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.